Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Mike Ragland, and today I have the honor of presiding over the retirement ceremony for Lieutenant Colonel Rob Foker after 34 years of outstanding service to our nation and to our Air Force. Before I say a few words about Rob, I want to welcome those who are with us today in person, remotely, or in spirit. To our senior leaders, distinguished visitors, such as my friend, Colonel Brian Garino, commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, airmen of the 7th Intelligence Squadron, friends, colleagues, and most importantly, Rob's family, Terry, Aaron, and Robbie, welcome. Thank you all for spending your time with us today to make today truly a special one for Rob and his family. I also want to offer my personal thanks to everyone who had a hand in making today's ceremony possible. These are always difficult to pull off, and you only get one chance to get it right, and it means a lot. So thank you to everyone who has had a hand in today's special ceremony. Retirements are always a bittersweet thing to me. On the one hand, the Air Force is losing an officer and a leader. However, on the other hand, 34 years of service is an awful long time, and we all must make that transition when the moment is right. They told me that you'll know when the time is right, and it turned out that is the case, and today is the right time for Rob. Rob's goal today was to make this ceremony as short and sweet as possible. I'll do my best to honor that. And so rather than review all 34 years of his career and service in excruciating detail, I'm just going to hit some of the highlights and maybe share a few personal memories from my own time being assigned with Rob over the years. Rest assured, this is no easy task given the length of Rob's career, including 4 overseas tours, assignments in California, Nebraska, Texas, Florida, Maryland, and oh, by the way, he's deployed to hotspots around the world in combat at least 5 times. When Rob enlisted, it was 1986. Ronald Reagan was the president. Gasoline averaged about 89 cents a gallon, and Top Gun was the biggest movie of the year. People wore parachute pants and Madonna-inspired outfits. Breakdancing was popular, and the strategic landscape back then was much different than it is today, too. The Cold War was not yet over. A heavily guarded wall separated East Germany and West Germany, and our focus was squarely on the Soviet Union as a principal adversary. So Rob started off in this environment. He began the enlisted portion of his career as a communicator, where he was part of our nuclear command and control apparatus. After 2 assignments in this career field, he decided to cross-train into the intelligence career field. As an intelligence operations specialist, Rob served in a variety of missions to include flying operations with F-16s at Kun San, the intelligence watch at the Strategic Air Command, airborne collection operations with the predecessor to what we now call DGS-2 or Distributed Ground Station 2, and integrating air operations with U.S. Army operations at Fort Hood, Texas. Now, the Fort Hood assignment was a little off the beaten path, but it turned out to be a very, very special one for Rob and his family. This is where he met Imelda, and they married, and it's also where their oldest son, Robbie, was born, so a very special memory there. If all of this wasn't enough to keep him busy, Rob finished up his bachelor's degree, and he put in an application to a master's degree program with the Joint Military Intelligence College, or JMIC as we call it. Once he finished that up, while he was getting his master's degree, Rob became a senior non-commissioned officer, which is a sign of leadership opportunities to come. And when he finished up his master's degree, that's when I got to know Rob Foker. That happened when he was sent to the 325th Operations Support Squadron at Tyndall Air Force Base, Florida, where I was already assigned. Just a few memories from our time together there at Tyndall. It was apparent early on that Rob is very much a thinker. He was quick to use his new education that he had just received at JMIC, as well as his analytical thinking skills, and improve the quality of our airmen and the support to the mission that we provided and the academics that we taught to student pilots and air battle managers. It was also very apparent that Rob was a leader. I vividly remember one time Rob telling me and our flight commander politely that it was time for us to leave for the day. When I asked him why, he told me that, well, you officers get to have your officers' calls, so I've decided we're going to have enlisted calls for enlisted professional development for our airmen and NCOs, which I thought was fantastic. Rob also turned out to be a little bit of a prankster, especially in this assignment, but I'll let him tell you about the time that I took the blame for a prank that he orchestrated and didn't work out so well for me. That's a pretty funny story. It was finally apparent that Rob was hungry for additional challenges. Even though he had already had an accomplished career, he was a fantastic senior NCO. He decided to go for the next challenge, which was to put in an application for officer training school. Rob was accepted and he earned his commission as a second lieutenant in November of 2000. Rob started the officer portion of his career after getting his commission at full speed. He was first assigned to the 25th Information Operations Squadron, which has a special operations mission. As he was in training for this particular assignment, he was on temporary duty out in New Mexico when our nation was attacked on the 11th of September, 2001. Rob instinctively rushed back to Florida, knowing that the squadron needed him and that a deployment was soon in his future. However, he also knew that Imelda needed him as well, as she was about 6 months pregnant with their second son, Aaron. Aaron went on to be born in December of 2001, and by February of 2002, Rob was deployed to the Middle East for Operation Enduring Freedom and the Global War on Terror. Rob would go on to deploy again just a short time later for Operation Iraqi Freedom from that same assignment. So again, off to a brisk start as a young lieutenant. I've stayed in touch with Rob over his 20 years as an officer, both as a friend and as a mentor. And while we weren't stationed together subsequently after Tyndall, I've always followed the officer portion of his career from Japan to Germany to Nellis to the National Capital Region and all sorts of stops in between. During this time, Rob's work ethic and his character took him to the highest of highs professionally. Time and again, Rob demonstrated outstanding leadership in a variety of environments and different missions. This included the 82nd Reconnaissance Squadron in Okinawa, supporting RC-135 operations, where he also deployed to the Philippines and again to the Middle East. But he was still hungry for even more challenges. So Rob put in an application for the Air Force Weapons School, and he was selected to attend what was at the time a very new course to create weapons and tactics instructors for ISR operations missions. Upon graduating, he was sent to the 24th Intel Squadron at Germany, where he served as the weapons and tactics instructor for DGS-4, and yet again caught another deployment back to the Middle East. Rob's awesomeness at work had not gone unnoticed though. He was asked to come back to the United States and teach at the Air Force Weapons School, an honor and a testament to Rob's expertise, his credibility, and his humility. While there, he started as a line instructor and eventually became the director of operations, or the #2 leader in the squadron. Following that, he was asked by the 2-star general at the Air Force Warfare Center to be part of a new advanced integration weapons instructor course. This was a high visibility, high priority effort for the 2-star. And it's clear that he chose Rob because he absolutely needed the best of the best. And Rob was absolutely the perfect fit for that. Unfortunately, Rob also experienced the lowest of lows when his wife Imelda passed away after a long battle with cancer in 2016. This happened when Rob was assigned to the Air Staff at the Pentagon. Some of you may know that Rob even turned down consideration for Squadron Command when he was first eligible because he knew that his family needed him more than the Air Force at the time. With the support of his family, his friends, and the church, Rob continued to heal and be the best father that he could while still serving as an officer. In 2017, he was blessed to meet Terry, and they married the following year in early 2018. Also in 2018, Rob was blessed again, this time with his selection to be the commander of the 7th Intelligence Squadron at Fort Meade, Maryland. Now, I'm one of the folks that will tell you that Squadron Command is, in fact, the best job in the Air Force. And not only did Rob get the best job in the Air Force, but he got an absolutely phenomenal squadron in the 7th IS. I know the squadron personally from a personal assignment that I had at the 659th Group. And I can tell you personally, this is a great squadron, but it comes with its own leadership challenges for a couple of reasons. First is the sheer size. This is a big squadron. This is almost 500 people, to include uniformed military as well as civilians. And that's a lot to keep up with, even on the best days. To make things even more challenging, the airmen are spread out into work centers all over the place. They're not all concentrated in one location. So just keeping up with what the airmen are doing is difficult enough, but to be the leader and the commander of that, that's a special challenge. This is also a special squadron because it comes with a lot of important relationships. Relationships with mission partners that can be very delicate at times, very nuanced, and it takes a skilled hand and true diplomacy to make that work right. And I think Rob has done a fantastic job with that during his time at the 7th. There are many other challenges, but the last one I'll mention is the nature of the mission requires in-depth, specialized technical expertise in both the space and cyber mission areas. This expertise is in short supply and in high demand by both government and industry. And it takes a special form of leadership to lead those airmen effectively. And Rob, I think you've done a fantastic job with that during your time as a squadron commander. Rob pretty much had the squadron where he wanted it about 6 months ago as the calendar year rolled over, and expected kind of a smooth glide slope to the summertime when he would be handing it off to his successor. But then, as we all know, 2020 began throwing us curveballs, one after another. First was the coronavirus and the associated economic impacts that came with that, along with widespread social tensions, political divisions, and societal unrest. Now, these events brought new and different leadership challenges that Rob has done a fantastic job with. He responded with innovative ways to keep people, one, working, and two, connected to the mission, but also connected to each other at the human being level. And I think that's important for a squadron commander to do. Rob, please know that you have my utmost respect for what you and your airmen have accomplished in the 7th Intel Squadron during your time in command. I also want you to know that I've enjoyed living vicariously through you and your success over the last 20 years. I'm proud to call you a friend and a comrade, and I feel very fortunate that we'll get to continue serving together in a different capacity very soon. Congratulations to you and your family, and sincere thanks on behalf of our nation and our Air Force for your amazing career of outstanding service. Thank you.